up, my boys?
Our mood is blooming just like this tree. Today is the day we can go on a restaurant. So we're doing a food tour today, but we have so many questions that we want to answer.
Because after this lockdown, everything has probably changed a lot. When you go to a restaurant, there will be new rules, new restrictions, and we have no idea how many is open again. We have no idea if we're gonna stand in line to get a table because you have to be seated with 2 meters distance. So can the restaurants even live up to the standard? I'm very excited to see what is going on, and also what does Lisbon look like.
One of the things that I'm most excited about to find out today is how many restaurants are actually open. Like how many actually have been able to go through this lockdown of 2 months where there's been no customers.
Yeah. We are starting at Pastis de Belém, and the problem for them will be that tourists are their main income source. So hopefully they are still open.
It's like going into surgery. It's closed here?
We're only doing takeaway at this point. We're only going to open up table service around June.
But you are allowed to be open if you want it.
We are allowed to be open if we want it, but for the moment we're just doing takeaway. We will start table service in June, I think.
Okay.
In June?
Yeah,
Okay.
June.
It seems like a lot of restaurants, they do it their own way. I mean, if I was a business owner, I would just open up the city. This is a national treasure. It's not a pastel de nata, as many of you say, but it's a pastel de Belém.
Yes.
It's almost a pastel de nata, but
The custard is different, they say.
this
But
is
also,
what we call it, a pastel de nata.
Can I say something? Look at the button. It's like so curly at the button of this pastel de nata.
Yeah. Oh my
Pastel de
god.
Belém. Okay, let's just bite it.
It's so warm. Oh! Whoa! Oh my god! I mean, we've had
Oh my
this
God,
many
how do they make them
times.
so good?
You know, this was like #1 reason why we love living in Portugal. So now we're going into the city to see how Lisbon is actually looking. How many restaurants are open? Can we even find a place to sit? We're gonna find out.
Empty AF, huh?
Sure,
Very beautiful here when there's no tourists. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, we are at the most touristy area of Lisbon, and I mean, the tourists haven't exactly come to Lisbon yet. So, you know, this is what I wonder also with the restaurants. There are no tourists here, so it's essentially still a lockdown. So only 50% capacity and no tourists.
We won't have Santo Antonio this year, but there's festa here anyway. Hola. I feel like a human again.
We're sitting at an actual restaurant table.
Obrigada.
This is real life. Fazemos vídeo de comida portuguesa hoje. Então só
Só pouco comida.
duas entradas ou mesmo. This is a moment I have been waiting for the last two months plus. I'm sitting here with some queijo nisha, which is it's a hard shell cheese. It's very good, and some delicious bread here. You know, this is just what you get served when you arrive. But normally it's super dry, but here the bread is tasteful. And also we have no idea where we are, but we were drawn into this little patio here, and it feels like home. We are waiting for our friend Antonio. He's actually joining us for this food tour because where we are going to have food as well is Taberna Sal Grosso. We don't know if it's open, but we're gonna go there and see. And if not, Antonio, he will guide us. He's Portuguese and he knows all the gems. So
Because he's a foodie.
oh my God!
Can feeling this smell?
I have missed this. So we are having gambas com alho. And this is one of our favorite things to eat, and we rarely cook fish at home because we don't like our home to smell like fish. So when we go out, shellfish, seafood, anything is something we love eating. Today it's not just about trying new foods, because today it's much more about seeing how is Lisbon after the lockdown. So we might eat a lot of the dishes we have already had.
I mean, you can't go wrong with this. It's classic, it's Portuguese. This is a great starter to a great vlog. So this place is closed, and we just talked with the restaurant owner, the waiter on the other place, and he said that there's a good chance that all the places that are closed right now, that they are bankrupt. So they might be out of business. And if that's the case, it's like every second business. But there are a lot of them also that are just seeing the situation through and maybe waiting a week. I don't know why they would wait. I mean, just open up the city. But we have good news.
The good news is that you've got a 100% genuine pork and cheese to show you around the city. So this place is closed, but we're going to find a nice alternative. Hello?
Is it closed?
Pode ficar aqui, vou só lá ver se está fechado.
We're currently figuring out if they are open, this place.
COVID times, we're in unique times. But we're trying this place called Upuleiro, and Mommy knows best.
Mommy?
Yes, she
Was it your mother?
recommended it, yes.
So we got Portuguese mother recommendation going on.
Like ancient, old school things.
Drum roll.
We open tomorrow.
They're opening tomorrow, for fuck's sake. We'll have to come back another day. It looked nice.
But old Mom Dukes swears by it, and she has pretty good, she has decent taste. So.
But does mother Portuguese
Mother,
have other
mother knows
suggestions?
best. From now on, it's the Antonio show.
Okay.
Well, lead us away.
I will.
Hola, tem uma mesa? Look at the menu here. It's arroz de pato, bacalhau brás.
We haven't had arroz de pato since quarantine started.
Se tem uma pinta, dá-lhe uma pica e põe no andar. Dispara a cinta, já crê que é rei da quem dá limar. Não me obriguem a vir parar.
Chin to
Nice.
to COVID.
Sangria, but sangria, that's Spanish, isn't it?
It is, but it's Portuguese. Nobody knows it's Portuguese and Spanish. But the Spanish are fantastic at co-opting Portuguese things. We have this national treasure. His name is Viriato. And there's a TV show, a Spanish TV show, where it's like Viriatos, el rey de España. So they co-opted our national treasure and made it theirs.
What are we having here?
So we're having the arroz de pato, which everybody knows and everybody loves.
But is it better than Amalia's arroz de pato?
No, I loved Amalia's actually. On a 10 scale, I would say like almost an 8, like 7.8.
Yes!
Especially after like going out at night and coming back at 3 a.m. I reheated it.
Really?
It tasted amazing. It went like one. This is something I've never heard of. It's called jack potatoes with.
So we're eating non-Portuguese food.
Maybe, but this is definitely Portuguese, which is arroz de polvo.
It took quite some time to actually sit down at a restaurant where we're getting main courses. But this Lisbon restaurant here, we've been here like 4 times or something.
We've been
And
here
it
6
is-
times,
Six,
I saw it on the,
6 times? Really? Okay. It's so typical Portuguese food. You don't get ripped off. I mean, prices are good. And they always have new interesting dishes on the menu, and I'm gonna have some of this pulvo.
How do you like it?
No, it's great.
Piri is essential.
It's Spanish piri piri.
Does it really take it back?
Antonio, he puts piri piri on everything he eats.
Every single thing. Tabasco is like salt for me. I actually love Spain and the Spanish people. Great people.
Can you say that as a Portuguese?
Is it?
Because like my impression is that like most Portuguese, they're not a fan of Spanish people.
They're not a fan. It's a little bit of a. It's not a rivalry. It's just a. It's an historical hatred, basically.
So this reminds me of food that we would eat in Africa or something. It's really flavorsome. It has a little bit of a Portuguese kick to it because it has the chorizo in it.
A lot of African countries are former Portuguese colonies.
Yeah.
I probably should give the verdict as to if this is a arroz de pato that can beat Amalia's or not. It's a good arroz de pato, but what I liked about yours was that it was more crunchy. Like you put it in the oven, so it gets this layer of sturdiness. It's more like hard shell.
Saúde.
Was it Portuguese enough?
It was it was two-thirds Portuguese because this isn't at all. We checked with one of the owners, and she said it's a British recipe. Who knew the Brits could cook so well?
But Britain, like the UK, used to be owned by the Portuguese.
That's true. That's absolutely, I actually forgot about that. This is probably my favorite because the duck rice is good, but it's not stellar. A 7.5 and this an 8.
Yeah.
And this I would give 7.8.
Oh, it looks so good.
Oh my god. I know I said it was full, but like a chocolate mousse. You can always eat a chocolate mousse.
Baba di Camelo. It reminds me of my youth. It reminds me of my 15th birthday, actually.
It's like making out with an old Alfama woman who knows how to cook. No, that was weird.
In more ways than one.
So, this is your first day opening.
Yes, it is.
And are you getting, your old regular clients immediately coming back, or?
Yes, a few.
But you have been able to survive this.
Yes,
But you didn't.
very difficult.
Are you expecting to survive, or are you still struggling? Like, is it?
We are going to survive. Portuguese are
survivors.
I
yes,
like that.
from 500 years, so we are going to survive.
Yes.
We are full tonight.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Oh.
congratulations! That's amazing to know.
Yes.
You're gonna do well. I know. It's all about the food.
Yeah.
Do you want an Uber or shall we go on my ride?
You're right.
Okay.
I've been calling so many places to see if they were open, and all of them said they were closed on Google. So I checked it both on Google and I called them. The first place that I just checked on Google that said it was open was Sooth for a nice cocktail.
Fuck this shit, I'm never doing a video.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. That looks good at that point.
This might be the most non-quarantine lockdown moment.
I think so.
So
are, we,
far.
are we being filmed? Is this?
Yeah. You're always
okay.
on camera, Antonio.
So it's taking in all of us?
All of us.
Yeah.
Very happy with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where are we going, Amalie?
We are going to Taberna do Ferreiros, or as a Portuguese person would say.
Taberna dos Ferreiros.
Oh, come on.
No, good. I'll be serious. Taberna dos Ferreiros. And it's actually a fantastic place. It's really not that typical Portuguese, but I'm sure we'll find something there that's typical that we can enjoy and, tell your audience how fantastic it is.
This restaurant is one out of 2 restaurants that are our favorite in this neighborhood.
We actually included it in our
we
the 11 best Portuguese restaurants we visited in Portugal.
And it's
Yeah.
good because it's actually a very out of the way, like tucked away place.
Even though it's in
And
the
now
middle of...
because of your 70,000 subscribers, it's going to be impossible to get a reservation here. So thanks a lot, man.
Hola, tudo bem? Tudo bem?
Viva!
Everybody here?
What is the most traditional Portuguese food here?
Well, you know, just off the bat, I can take a look in the burrata. Presunto, mel, and mostarda, that's typical from the interior. You have the salada caprese, Algarve, usually, from the deep south. The burger was invented actually in a little town in Alentejo. It's a nice little town. It's got, you know, those little blue lines to keep out the spirits and everything. There's another thing that I highly recommend called the carpaccio di vitella.
Carpaccio di vitella. That sounds so Portuguese.
That's actually from the north.
But you do have the duck confit. That's French, or is it also Portuguese?
Confit is typical from the Azores, actually. Confit. Yeah.
I can't. I'm sorry.
No. Are you recording or no?
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
What am I eating here?
Pork ribs. You need to put barbecue sauce on top of it, Joen.
Oh my god. FYI, it's called a Lisbon food tour. Not necessarily a Portuguese food tour. But I don't know, would you call this Portuguese food, Antonio?
So that is Portuguese.
It's very similar to, you know, a bochechas, you know, that whole category of food.
Oh my God, Johan.
I mean, this is absolutely spectacular. We haven't
These are
had...
some of the best pork ribs I've ever had. I feel like they have been slow cooking them first, so they've become super tender, and then they have been barbecuing them or roasting them afterwards, so they are tender and crispy.
What is this here?
This is ossobuco, totally Italian, but it's the best ossobuco I've had in Portugal. I think it's because one of the chefs, or maybe the chef, is one of them Brazilian guys from São Paulo, and São Paulo is very Italian.
Is this something you think or something you know?
Something I know, it's very
okay.
Italian inspired. There's a lot of Italian influence, you know?
I'm actually glad that we are having, because Joen and I, we often have the discussion, because Joen, he thinks that Italian food is only pizza and pasta. And I keep telling Joen that it's much more than that.
Much more.
Pizza, pasta, and bread?
Joen, you have...
I think Italian food is amazing, but I think that it may be slightly overrated. As good as it is, it's definitely in the top 5, but it might be slightly overrated. I would include Portuguese. I think Portuguese food is the most underrated, actually.
I totally agree. Why don't you see Portuguese restaurants when you go to New York? Why don't you see it when you go to LA, in Denmark? I mean, you see Italian restaurants, you see Spanish restaurants, but...
There's just a new Portuguese place popping up in Copenhagen in Lisbon.
Well, that's our fault. That's our fault, Amalie.
We're gonna go show everybody that.
You're the only one who's having this bacalhau.
Can I like actually expose you to your audience a little bit? You don't really like bacalhau that much.
We have said that to them. They already know.
Oh, you said that? Oh, so you've been exposed. But you're so in the wrong, because when you try dishes like this, that's when you know bacalhau is one of the great fish dishes of all time.
But did you know that it's actually like the bacalhau is actually caught up from where I'm born, the Faroe Islands? How do you feel about that? It's not really Portuguese. I mean, if you have to be honest, the fish is not caught out of the coast here.
The fish is only the ingredients, though. It's the way they prepare it that is unique.
It's the raw material. It means nothing. It's about how you cook it and how you prepare it. And you have to try it. I mean, a Portuguese guy eating bacalhau is nothing new. I think people have subscribed to your channel because they're waiting and they're hungering for a Danish guy, or where are you from again? Sweden or?
The reason why I'm not a fan of this is because it's rubbery, and I hate fish with bones in. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's growing on me. It's like when you're a kid and you're learning how to drink beer. Like you hate it in the beginning, but then it slowly grows on you, and then finally you become obsessed. And you know how this is like, maybe the white wine here is my bacalhau.
Slowly, 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 slowly. Oh, beautiful.
Oh my god.
Oh, God. Good?
Do the Tonya reaction. It's coming to an end, but have we answered all the questions we asked when we started out this video? I think so, yeah, I think so. Most of the restaurants are not open yet. A lot of them are probably bankrupt, but generally you can go and have food and enjoy it. I think it's been a positive day. It's been positive, but also a little bit depressing, because all these restaurants, they need tourists to survive.
So one of the most frightening things we have seen today is actually that a lot of restaurants we have looked inside or been passing by actually were empty. So a lot of people are yet not ready to go out and dine, I suppose. And that has been a little bit frightening. We've been sitting here at one of the best restaurants in the area where we live, and it's just us and another couple, which is sad.
Just to add to what Amelia said, I think I feel very privileged to finally be in a restaurant with two of my favorite people, and having at least one of my favorite dishes, which is this ossobuco, which is amazing. And I wish that people get going again. We got to get going again. We got to open up. It's not the end of the world. I know that we're going through a very tough time, but it's not a deal breaker. I think we can live through this. Chin up. You got to go chin up, and just take life and live it. And we got to live it together, baby.
Obrigada por ver o vídeo. Do I say it right?
Obrigada por ver o vídeo também.
How do you want me
Eu sou
to say
português de Gema. Eu cresci aqui. Eu sou lisboeta. Nasci em Lisboa. Okay? And I love it. Obrigado por ver o vídeo.
Obrigada por ver o vídeo.
Oh, nice. That was not so bad.
Hasta luego.